excited to be in conversation with my old positive psychology friend, Lizzie LaRoc, who has inspired so many people to just focus, and because she's all about photography on top of psychology and nature, just to like focus on the beauty and focus on being in the moment and focus on connecting. And it's just one beautiful message after another. So to that end, I'm going to ask Lizzie LaRoc to introduce herself and tell us the favorite things about herself that she loves about what she does and who she is. And then Lizzie is going to tell us this amazing story about just deep connection and how it changed her with one of my favorite spirit animals as well. So welcome, Lizzie. Yay, I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jessica. I am Lizzie LaRoc, and I live in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. So I live in a ski resort in Northwest Colorado. And I have a program that I've created called the Life Feast. And so just as you said, like I say that it's a mashup of curiosity, awe, joy, mindfulness, play, adventure, and creative iPhone photography. So I love to blend this world of positive psychology and your camera, because I feel, as you know, that you really enjoy photography as well. But photography is such a great metaphor for all of positive psychology and savoring things. I feel like they're just perfectly in sync. So that is what I'm all about. I have identical twin girls who just left for college this year, so I'm having some new empty nest grief as they just went back to school the other day. But yeah, and I have to say, I always want to thank you as we tie it into the positive psychology, because I know that you had sent me that email several years ago of, Lizzie, you have to go check out Mandy Seligman. And you were seeing her speak somewhere. And so Mandy Seligman being the wife of Martin Seligman and
founder of positive psychology.
And that she is a positive psychologist, clinical psychologist, as well as a photographer. And so Mandy and I met. She did a workshop in my program. We text often, became lovely friends. And it was really neat because she, with her proximity to the science of positive psychology, simultaneously, unbeknownst to either of us, we were doing really similar work. She was creating an app and I was creating this program. And so it was.
I'm so excited. I'd forgotten that worked out so well. And like Marty Seligman is like our, everyone's hero who's in this space. And Mandy is such a beautiful person, like such a beautiful, talented, just wisdom and joy person.
Yeah.
So yay.
Gorgeous accent. She's just, yeah.
Yay.
So thank you. Thank you. Those random emails that you send out, like, yeah, I really, not that you said, like, I was like, okay, I'll Google her. Like, there was no other context and I just went ahead and fell in love. So
yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's like made my day. That's a boost for the day. That's like one of my endless connections.
Gratitude to you. I should have, I think I did say like, oh my gosh.
You did. I remember. Yeah.
Awesome. She's going to do it.
Okay. So we'll get her on here to do an episode next. So we'll, yay. Okay. So now that we're all in this like this amazing energy and spirituality thing between the two of us, this common energy, I can't wait for you to share your story about energy and spirit and manifesting what you want in life and just these like special experiences that we can all have if we just open ourselves up to them. So tell us your story. Tell us this beautiful story.
Yeah. And it's so funny. Like, I love that I can own this now because, I love sciences so much that when I asked like, well, can I share some stories from like spiritual experiences with animals, Jessica, that you were game for it. Because years ago, I probably would have kept it more on the down low, but so about, I think probably back in 2013 or so, I love yoga. I'm a longtime yoga practitioner, and I really love very traditional yoga. And so my favorite teacher here where I live was trained in India, and her favorite a Swami and teacher from India, came to Steamboat, to our little town from India, to lead like a 3-day yoga retreat at my regular yoga studio. And I gleefully signed up, and it was going to be learning all about your chakras and doing different yoga poses and whatnot, and meditation. And so in the very first day of the workshop, he's the Swami Mahesh, he's a dear friend now, but he was teaching us, and he was going through the different chakras and what the energetic meaning is in our lives, and how to bring more balance to them, and all the good stuff that comes with chakra work. And he got to the heart space, the heart chakra, so moving up. And he had said, this is your Anahat chakra, and it is your purest heart's desire. And that his example that he was using is, he said, if you want something in life, if you want, basically, to, a word that sometimes makes me roll my eyes, but if you want to manifest something in life, and it's coming from your Anahat, not from say more of your Swadhisthana, which was lower in your hips, of this more ego-based desires. If it's coming from your heart in this purest place, like, it will come true. And he said very joyfully, cutely, like, for example, I would love to see a bear while I am here in Steamboat. And we all chuckled, we're thinking like, yeah, I mean, every once in a while you see a bear, and I don't know if you'll see one in the next 3 days or so. And we start doing the workshop, and we're doing our different yoga poses. And like an hour or two into it, a guy in the room did not have mirrors. It's my favorite room. And it overlooked a river and a wooded area and a small ski hill where they train like Olympic ski jumpers. Not our main ski mountain. And so, there's like a bike path and restaurants down below. Like, it's nature, and it's also, our downtown area, but scenic. And so a guy goes, "Oh my gosh, Swami Mahesh, there's a bear in the tree right now. Like, your wish is coming true." And I think, as I told you before, Jessica, like, I've been practicing yoga in this room for like 15 years. I had never seen a bear out the window. I've eaten dinner at the restaurant down below. I'd never seen a bear out the window from that. It was pretty extraordinary. So as soon as this moment happened where, like, what? There's a bear. You just said, this is your heart's desire. And I thought, I'm a believer. Like, all right.
Life changing, right? That like somehow energy can, like, there's energy out there that things happen if you want them enough, and they're not for ego to show off or to tell people that they are, about just pure heartfelt connection and joy, right?
Yeah. Seeing the bear wasn't gonna inflate his status in life. It wasn't like, I need to see a bear because that'll make me cooler or whatever, or wealthier, or any sort of ego-based desire. And yeah, and he was so delighted by it. And we still talk, like, he comes back to town every couple of years, and we still joke about this day that the bear happened. So shall I tell you the part two to this?
Yes. So how did this impact you beyond the bear? Go for it.
Yeah. So I definitely, like, tucked it away, like, wow, that was fascinating. And I see bears often, so I wasn't really dying to manifest a bear. But a couple of years later, I was the marketing director for a mindfulness company. And the founder of the company was leading retreats in Costa Rica. And I was helping her market the retreat. And I'm trying to fully remember if this was the same time frame or previously. I think it was. She was going to be in Costa Rica for about a month. The retreat was going to be at the tail end of the month. And so I was doing some additional marketing for her of it. And she told me this story about how they had gone to, you had said the park, the national park in Costa Rica, where they watched the
Leatherback.
leatherback sea turtles.
Yeah, maybe.
Isn't that what they're called?
There are leatherback turtles. Yep. But go ahead.
Yeah. This huge, massive.
Yes. She saw leatherbacks. Oh, cool. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, you go.
They're like
So
the size
giant
of a car.
I mean, it looked like a bowl. It looked like and she shared a picture with me, and she was like, I mean, there were hundreds of them, and they had.
So that's an Arabata. That's at Camp Ridley, and they're smaller, but there's leatherbacks too. Maybe she saw them both. But anyway, go ahead. We won't go to
whatever. What would you think it was? Like the
largest ones are leatherbacks, and they can weigh they look literally the size of Volkswagens, or could be 1,500 pounds, but they don't come in. They don't have any.
Okay. All right. So this might have been a smaller version.
This was the Arabata, where Costa Rica, this beach is where hundreds or thousands all nest come in at the same time.
Yes.
And it's this miraculous experience that I will someday hopefully have.
Yes. That is the one. And she had said oh yeah, there were all these rules, we had to be really quiet. And it was so, she's a mindfulness teacher. So it's this beautifully meditative, quiet experience of watching these giant turtles come and lay in the sand to nest. And I was just absolutely swooning over this story, going, I want this experience. I'm in Steamboat. I'm in Colorado with the bears and the snow, and thinking, I want to have this experience with a turtle. I want to be in Costa Rica. This is amazing. And I'm writing marketing material for her based on this story. And a couple of months later, so I was in Cabo San Lucas, San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, with my family for my dad's 70th birthday. And we had rented a villa on this fancy, beautiful beach. And it was a very manicured beach. It was combed and maintained daily. And I had told my sister this story of the turtles that my client had just seen the month prior. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't look like this is the kind of beach that we're going to see hundreds of sea turtles come to nest. And I'm bummed about that. My heart, I want to manifest seeing a turtle. And she laughed, and, we're just nerding out about different manifestations. And a couple of days later, we go for a walk on the beach, and we're walking and walking. And all of a sudden I look down, and a baby sea turtle washes up as the tide comes in over our feet. And I thought it was a toy. I didn't know, what was looking at, oh my gosh. And here's kind of paddling around. And then he gets back out into sea. And we look
and seeing these turtles in person is so cool. They're so beautiful. They're so small, but they're just magical. They've been doing this for millions of years, right? And it's just crazy to just see these gorgeous little animals that have this life ahead of them, that they have this, that they will travel around the world and go back to the same beach to nest. It's a really miraculous kind of thing to see one of these in person. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you picture us, the ocean is on our left, the tides, and to the right are the houses and whatnot that are on this beach. But we look to the right, and we see there's another baby sea turtle coming. We went, okay, this wasn't a fluke. This isn't a toy. This is actually happening. And we look up, and there's a row of, 10 or so turtles making their way down the sand into the ocean. So our kids are way down the beach over by where the house was that we were staying. We start yelling to them to come run over and see this. We walk up to the sand and can see this pile of sand, and just watching ants coming out of a hill of these little baby sea turtles coming out and making their way down to the ocean. So all the kids come over, and they immediately go to pick them up, and I'm like, don't pick them up. As we've shared, I thought that the resilience piece was that it's kind of like a baby learning to crawl. They need to build their strength to get down to the ocean, to make their journey out into the ocean, and that if we intervened with that, we would harm their muscle building process. And as I know that you've shared, it's this, what is it again? It's the magnetic
Yeah, they have magnetite, a magnet, this GPS function, this crazy sixth sense in their brains that remembers where they were born. Like they have to walk down the beach to know where to go back to when they have to actually have that experience of like walking and embedding the
Ah,
location in their GPS.
yeah.
It's crazy, right? Like it's like a crazy thing. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, and the kids' hearts were in the right place because
sure.
they're all these
Yeah,
birds are flying around and
yeah,
swooping in. And they were like, no, the birds are gonna get them. And I said, well, let's just stand over them and kind of
yeah, yeah.
waddle along, straddling them as they to ensure safe passage into the ocean, but not interfere with the process. And so that's exactly what we did. We did watch one tragedy where a bird swooped in, and because there were so many coming
Yeah,
at once.
yeah.
There were
There
only
could be
like
like
four of us.
120. I mean,
Yeah,
they could keep coming. Yeah.
yeah. So we were not able to like straddle them all. Of course, me being a photographer, I happened to have, I was really quite pleased. Like I had my bigger camera with me, like on my shoulder.
Mhm.
And so I'm immediately stopping and trying to get her picture, which I have one that's actually up in my husband's office.
Oh,
It's
okay. We
in
will put them in the show notes. We have to get that picture from you.
yeah, I'll put that in there. So, and what's funny is, my husband, we've always joked that he's kind of like his spirit animal should be a turtle because he is very soft on the underbelly. He definitely has like, not a harsh exterior, but it's just protective.
Yeah.
And he's very introverted, where I'm very extroverted, and he does go inward into this shell. And so he's a therapist in our town, and his company is called Tortuga Counselors.
Wow.
And so that's what he's, which is funny. We first had his business cards, whatever, my mom said something like, is he going to counsel turtles? No, he's counseling people, but the people resonate with this metaphor as well of this soft
Yeah.
underbelly and a little bit of a tougher exterior and needing to go inward for all the things. So we're scuba divers, and I feel like it's such a joy and a treat when you get to see a turtle diving underwater. Because they're just, I think of like the Finding Nemo turtle, like the cutest surfer dude. And they just look so effortless and elegant, and they're just floating away. And it reminds me to take a breath and relax and like chill out a bit.
It's amazing because the only time a female turtle will only come back and not be in that graceful capacity is when they nest. And a male turtle will never return to the beach, will never touch sand again. So like that's their world, that graceful beauty of just the spirit of them wandering around in comfort, like and enjoy. But when they come back on the beach, it's a lot of work. Like when you watch those little guys, it was a lot of work to get to the beach,
Yeah.
right? To get to the water. Yeah.
Like that's quite the journey. And
Yeah.
well, and I think as I shared with you that so when we having this amazing experience, and when it was over and we went back to the house, we asked the caretaker of the house, we shared it with him, and he said, well, that's really exceptional and very rare, because when the turtles are so protected here in this part of Mexico, and said so when they do find that there's a nest, they remove it and take it to their sanctuary where the turtles can have not be bothered by tourists and all of that. And he said that must be one that got missed. And like 3 days after the turtle sighting, there was not a I mean, it was like almost a hurricane, but a tropical storm. So it was a huge tropical storm, and the waves surged, and the beach was absolutely covered in water. It was flooded. I mean, you could not. Our whole area at our house was flooded. Like everything was flooded. So this, I'm guessing, this turtle nest would not have made it if it was 3 days
Amazing,
later.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you
like
would
the
share that
experience
it's
was
rare anyway, that it was daytime.
Yeah, right. And it was daytime. I mean, it was such an incredibly um impossible moment to have had, but you wanted it to have. So it somehow happened, right? Like just
Yeah.
like the bear and the like, and if it hadn't happened, you wouldn't have a story. and you probably wouldn't remember, but it did happen, so it changes you, right? Like
Exactly.
stories that change us by just embracing and savoring, as you said, these
Yeah.
experiences, so that they become more meaningful. Like a story isn't just a story; it has like a deep meaning that changes you. Okay, so to that end, what did it do to change you? Like, how did what came, carried, followed, what rippled, what did you bring forward from that experience?
Well, so a couple of different things. So one is that as you just said, like if it hadn't have happened, I would have forgotten that I'd ever set this pure desire that I wanted to see a turtle because I was jealous of my friends who had seen, not jealous because it made her cooler or anything, but just that
From the
I
heart.
wanted to have that
You
same
wanted to have
experience.
that. Yeah.
From that on a heart, really pure, desired place. There was going to be no benefit to me in life for having seen it status wise, ego wise. And so I choose to see that experience not as just a random coincidence, but as something that did come from this very pure heart desire of mine. I think the synchronicity of that happening just 2 months later, the fact that I had been in this yoga class before where I witnessed this happen to someone else and kind of attributed like, well, he's like a magical Swami. Of course he can manifest a bear. I can't do that. I'm a mere mortal over here. And being like, oh, wow, no, I can too. And like just tapping me into that difference between something that's a want from my head maybe versus something that's really coming from my heart from this other place. So this building this trust in for like really truly for like goal setting and other things that I want to see in my own business of okay, well where am I tapped into this truer desire. And then I also I love these like God winks or these sidewalk oracles or these just moments that aren't random that I choose to not see as random in
And that's
life.
the key, right? You can choose to just sort of write it off, or you can choose not to see it as random, because if you get to choose the story, why not choose the one that serves you better? Like that's as positive psychologists, that's like so, and coaches, that's the message, right? Like you don't know the story, so choose the one that is better for you. And
like we're always making up a narrative in our heads. Yeah. So why don't I make up the one that I love? And so the one that I love is seeing these synchronicities as these little winks from the universe, these beautiful moments that somehow in that situation of I had voiced the desire. In other situations, I think I told you about 3 weeks ago, I saw a white marmot. I forgot what it's not called, but it's like this sort of lengthy little
like
mountain.
Is it a mink?
Like a mink, but it was pure white, and saw it while on a chairlift skiing. And you can think of how yes, they are there, but they are white, and the snow is white, and you're up 30 feet above in a chairlift. It's not easy to see. And so saw this white marmot. And then later that day, I saw like 3 white bunnies on my way to my house. And with other animal sightings, like I Google immediately, not immediately because I'm on a chairlift, but I Google what is the spiritual message behind whatever animal this is. And I take it as maybe this isn't my spiritual animal of all time, but more of what is it just trying to tell me in this moment? What is it trying to remind me of? And like with the bunnies, it was something like, remember to be playful, remember to just be, and it was, it was December, like I'm empty nester, my kids are coming back, it's holiday time, it's stressful. And it was just this beautiful message of, oh yeah. And I don't need to go like, I don't know, down to have a peyote trip of like, oh, here's what my spirit animal message is by my journey. I can just take this in this everyday life moment and say, yeah, I needed that I needed this own little oracle in life of this
message.
moment.
I needed to hear this message. And people often say that they're like, just send me a message. Like if they lose somebody and they're like, just send me a message that you're still there. Just send me a message that this is the right decision or whatever. And then you hear people talk so often about the cardinals, who come back after someone passes and they feel like that's their spiritual, like if you were to Google it, right, it would be like, that's what people see as the return and connection from someone who's gone. So like,
and someone else might say like, oh, you don't need to see that. I would say like, well, if someone is grieving and that is what's just most uplifting and helpful in their resilience and in their healing, like, well, there's no harm in keeping this as that's what that means to me. And that is, I'm so grateful when these little moments happen to me. Not only the ones that, if I say like, I want to see a red cardinal today, but that
they happen for you, right? Like, because you are open to them. And this is the whole, like, you've defined the whole purpose of my whole Resilience Gone Wild. It's to offer metaphors, and you've connected this in like a beautiful way that if you just give yourself permission to take this positive nature metaphor and savor it and bring it to mind when you need it. So like next time you feel like I'm just not having as much fun, or like my kids are coming and I really want to be the fun, give them the fun experience and not get weighted down by judgments or whatever. Like
taking everything too seriously right now.
The bunny, bring the bunny to mind.
Yeah.
Like that's the offering, right? And when you're looking at, the turtle and the fact that you got to see it, it's that you can, if you really want something and you open yourself up to the positive energy, like broaden and build, which I keep coming back to. If you're in this place of positive energy and open-mindedness and curiosity and willingness to just let things happen, right? You're not like tight in yourself with no curiosity and not seeing anything except your ego. You're open to your heart.
Yeah. And I know, and I bet that as people are listening, it's jogging in their memory some random sighting that they either did pay attention to or didn't. But like I was even just sharing this, I've forgotten about this story, but I can't remember if it was before or after, but like years ago, I was in my in-laws neighborhood in Florida, and it's like a golf community and pavement everywhere. And I had decided, it was like New Year's or something. I decided I was going to take up jogging, and I was like running in their neighborhood or whatever, and just going. Like that's me. I'm always going. And I like turned a corner, and there was a giant turtle in the middle of like someone's driveway in Florida. There's even the kind of the more watery area. They're not on a beach, but they're on like a creek, and it's still pretty far away from where we are in this very paved area. And like I take a step back and go, what? And I did, like, for me personally, especially a turtle because it's slow, but I take a picture, if I can, and I'll happen upon these in my camera roll from like, this is like 10 years ago that I saw this random huge turtle in the driveway in Marco Island, Florida. It's just so strange. But I think that, at that time, I can't fully remember, but I would guess that the message either that I took from it or needed to was like, slow down, that this is, you're just like, even though I'm trying to take up a good habit at this time in life and motherhood and work and all that, it was just like, go, rather than,
and that's the best part about the story to me, is that you get to choose what you get out of a story, right? Yeah. You could like see some sort of suffering or negative or whatever, or you can say, this is the message that I need to hear at this time, and connect it, and just, you both are in a better place after that, right? Like you now move forward.
Because you can get the dark side too when you Google something. And I remember I'll tell you one more, but I remember being in the parking lot of Starbucks, drinking, whatever beverage I'm having in my car. And I was, answering messages or something. And on my windshield, I felt like a pecking, and it was a bird, and it was like a black kind of crow thing, like, pecking away at my windshield, not stopping, definitely wanting my attention. And I forgot whatever the message was, but it was, there were some darker sides to it, which maybe had their own, positive spin as well, or that I could choose to believe. I forgot how I had
But it's these
rewrite it in my
interactions.
head, but it was like, okay, yeah, this is, pay attention, whatever this is telling me.
So I'm going to thank you for that beautiful story and for bringing the whole idea that if we pay attention and we create a story out of versus just a fact. I saw a crow and a crow is banging on my windshield.
Yeah.
Like
this is a bad omen, or
right. Create the story that you want to carry forward that helps you live a more joyful life and more resilient life. So to that end, I'm going to sort of turn it back and say, that's what Lizzie offers in her, at least part of, I'm sure there's lots more that you offer, but like, that's such a unique focus of your work is that, when I go back and look at old camera roll pictures, which is some of the activities and things that you offer up, it's like, keep taking those pictures because they have a story. And if you go back and look at them, like remembering those moments and savoring life that way is such a beautiful way to go through life. Like take the pictures, go back and look at them, go back and remember the stories. Like we're so blessed to have iPhones, right? So that we have access to, I'm like so sad that before 2010, I didn't have these pictures, right? Like, and they're in these silly albums on the shelf somewhere that I can't just look at them. But so to that, I'm going to offer, where would you wrap up with that?
Well, and I'll just say, I want to give a caveat to that because I go both ways with it of like, take the picture and also there are these moments for your soul where, we're taking so many that we're missing the moment of being present. I was really like with the baby sea turtles, I didn't immediately reach for my camera, even though it was there and it was this extraordinary moment. It was like being in awe of this experience first and really feeling it and having it in my heart. And then as I'm seeing like, well, yeah, there are a lot of them. I could actually take a moment to compose
or take a picture and then put it away so that you don't feel like, oh my God, I need to take a picture. Like just put it aside.
Exactly.
In the experience. And I keep going back to an interview I did with Oliver, who's the honey badger episode. And he said, just 5 minutes a day, just go out in nature and leave the camera. Like, don't take the phone out of your pocket. Like, just go out and spend 5 minutes a day, just in awe and in connection. And don't worry about recording it. Like that's a different 5 minutes and it changes everything.
It does. And you know what? It's funny. I'll share. This is such a random example, but we went to a Peter Frampton concert, 5 years ago or so. And I loved it because Peter Frampton kind of made a joke at the beginning of the concert that he had gotten in trouble at some other concert for like taking someone's phone and chucking it in the audience or something, like someone who's recording. And he said, so my management and I have talked and we've come up with a different plan. And he said, for the first 2 songs of this concert, take as many photos as you want, record as much as you want, like have at it. And he said, and then after that, I get chills to even say it. He's like, after that, we're going to have an experience together. So put that phone away. Like, I don't want to see it again. We're on this journey together.
That's spectacular.
And I love that. So I take that in so much of my work of like documenting that one turtle in Florida, that was on the driveway. Like it's a memory primer, right? Like just having these things in our camera roll, we can go back to and remember that story. Like, oh, maybe I am meant to slow down today too, even though it's 8 years later. But I'm really intentional about like having that moment first. Then if I feel called to take the photo or want to remember it in some way to do that and not worry about it if I don't. Like that's a photo for my soul.
Okay, so this is so important. This is coming from the guru of savoring through photos. And that message is so friggin' important. So don't feel like you have to have the picture. Like you still can keep the story without the picture and just keep savoring the story and find some other way to have it stay in your life and just enjoy, be in the moment, right? It's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, Lizzie.
Thank you for all of this opportunity to share these fun stories.
Thank you. Oh, this was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Lizzie. Can't wait to keep connecting in our lives and learning from you and savoring our world together. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica.
This has been a production of BLI Studios, produced by me, Kai. Follow along with our other BLI produced shows at balancinglifesissues.com/podcast-BLI. Got an idea for the show? Email me, Kai, at balancinglifesissues.com. And don't forget to stay in touch with your host, Jessica, at jessica@winwinwinmindset.com. Anything else to add, Miles?
Yeah.